Okay, there we go. Now we are live. I am just going to share this over in a few places with the new link. Yeah, I was trying to use a different program. And yeah, it just, for some reason, would not let me get the, um, the webcam to work. But that's okay. We'll just do it right in YouTube instead. Just no fancy things. Okay, get that there. But yes, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to get to be here live. Oh, with you all once again, and kind of not even surprised that we had a little bit of a mishap. We made it through. I made it through um with what? I made it through the first one with like no mishaps. Everything worked out perfectly fine. So I'm not even surprised that today we're having a little bit of a hard time. So let us just update this now. And then we'll get into it. Oh, and I can't wait to talk about what we are all going to talk about. A link here. Save. Anyway. Oh, so today, if you didn't see on my on my Instagram, today we are going to be chatting about um, pretty much like rediscovering yourself, reframing your perceptions of yourself, and yeah, what that kind of looks like and how to do that, and sort of my tip on how you can tell if that's something that you need to be doing. So just give me 1 second here. One more link I just gotta update. This is real life though. This is one of the reasons why I was so pumped to like share like this, is because okay. Okay, now okay. So, like I said, today we are really going to talk about reframing. So, reframing our self perception, reframing and rediscovering our self, especially when it comes to describing ourselves and being so connected within our soul and aware that we are able to then choose words that actually reflect who we really are on that inside, on that soul level, versus what someone else has in our lives described us as, and we have held on to that. So, someone recently asked me, and I know we've all been asked this question like so many times, describe yourself in 3 words. How would you describe yourself in 3 words? Oh my God, that is such a difficult question. I always end up having like a million words. But what I noticed this time around, because this is definitely something I have answered so many times, like I think since freaking grade 2, I have been answering that question. Describe yourself in 3 words. Maybe it's more, maybe it's less. But what I realized this time around is that all the words that I would usually jump to describe myself were words like crazy, unreliable, lazy, childish, emotional, nosy, bossy, weird. They were all like pretty negative words. And honest to goodness, majority of those words were words that belong to someone else. They were not words that I would have ever used to describe myself when I was a little kid. They weren't words that I would have used to describe myself until I heard someone else describe me as those things first. And I think that a lot of us can kind of relate to this. A lot of you can relate to this. When you think of who you are and have to go and describe yourself to someone, a lot of the time you aren't actually using your words. You are describing yourself from someone else's or multiple else's point of view, which is crazy to think about. Like, how many of us do that? So many of us. And I think that's why we are all, one of the reasons we're all so disconnected. Like, all of us have such a hard time connecting on these super deep levels because we don't even know who we are. We can't connect with ourselves. And so we can't connect with others. We can't take the time to actually describe who we really are to other people because we actually have no clue who the fuck we are. And I'm so damn thankful that when I was asked this question the other day and I moved to answer it, and I realized I had the awareness, and I said to myself, oh fuck, that's really how I see myself? Because if so, man, that's like, that's not very polite. That's not very nice. And like, this person who was asking me to describe myself, they are a very soulful person. It was to help tap into my soul for a business thing. And my business is very much soulfully led. And I was like, whoa. So I said to myself, I was like, whoa, hold up. Let's take this a step back. Now I can't just answer this question really fast. I kind of have to sit with this and sift through this. But I'm really thankful that this time around, after being asked this question a million times, that I finally had that awareness to stop myself in my tracks, to take control back over how I perceive myself. And if I can do it, you can too. So if up to this point you're thinking, oh my God, yeah, if I was to describe myself right now, I probably would use all words that I have heard someone else use to describe me. And I don't even know if I relate to those words. I don't know if I like those words. I'll tell you that I sure as hell do not like the way I would describe myself as someone else from someone else's point of view. And I don't think it's true. I don't necessarily think I'm crazy or unstable or bossy. Okay, maybe it's just not in the connotations that other people have used it. So, how do we go about gaining that awareness and really leaning into our own personal, unique soul words for describing ourselves? How do we get to that point where we can now take a look at what may be a habit or old patterning? And this also has come up for me heavy this week in general, just with the full moon and everything, is this letting go of old patterns with the Capricorn energy that the full moon is presenting in. It's very much about that kind of work-life balance. But the thing with the Capricorn, and it's very much asking us to go inward and to really tap into where we are maybe giving our power away and how that's stopping us from achieving our goals, where we're looking maybe for validation or success outside of ourselves instead of leaning into that self-trust, where we're letting conditioning and old patterns, habits stop us from actually taking those steps that we need to take to achieve and accomplish what we are desiring, especially in that kind of physical realm, that work life realm. So that's again, so this has been coming up for me like a lot. This whole idea of this self perception and kind of the conditioned and the familiar, those habits and those really quick answers to questions like this, where you're asked to kind of speak to who you are. And you know the answers because they're the same ones that you've been repeating for years. And so, how do we tap into ourselves, to our soul, so we can kind of move out of those old ways of relaying who we are to the world and really tapping into our soul and letting that light shine? Well, first things first, you got to really tap into that inner work, especially inner child work. Because a lot of the time when we view ourselves in these kind of ways, when we use words like crazy and lazy and emotional and weird to describe ourselves, it's because within our childhood, someone somewhere out there, whether it was a teacher, a peer, a parent, a grandparent, said to you that you were those things, that made a comment about you being lazy, made a comment about you being weird, made a comment about you being crazy, or whatever words are coming out for you. And that every time something like that happens, we are separated deeper and deeper from who we are on that soul level. Because, like, think about how you would answer this question if you were, like, say, 4. If I was to ask my son, Benjamin, to describe himself in 3 words, he would probably say something like Lego Master, Power Ranger, Monster Truck. Those are all pretty amazing and epic things to want to describe yourself as. You know, no one is bringing him down. He's not saying that he's difficult or he's loud or he's a fraidy cat. Like, none of those things. He's not leaning into negative and very ego frequency things. He's just telling me the most amazing things that he can think of, because he thinks and he knows that he is awesome. He is as awesome as Lego Masters, Power Rangers, and Monster Trucks. And I'm not going to tell him he isn't. So think back to when you were like 4. How would you have answered that question? Oh, I would have answered it like some crazy way. Crazy in the meaning, in like the best way, not crazy like, oh my God, you're crazy, but like crazy, like, yeah, I would have been going there. Probably would have said I was a singer and a cat and something else. Who knows? I can't remember. But I know that it would have been amazing. It would have been epic, and it would have been totally, totally connected to who I am on that soul level. So inner child work is really key to being able to start working on navigating through where these conditioned beliefs and everything are sort of starting to pop up. Pinpointing where you were first told these things is very key to being able to navigate through them, to kind of release those, or to really gain that self-awareness that is needed for continuing on without continuing the habit of using those words to describe yourself. So inner child work and self-love are also very, very key. You need to be able to give yourself grace so that you can also kind of dive into the shadow work part. So it takes a lot of inner work. You know, you have to be able to let go of your past and any negative connotations or guilt and shame that come from that. Because again, if I was to describe myself a couple of years ago. Like I've said many, many times, if you follow me on Instagram or you're subscribed to the channel, you know that I used to have so much of my identity within my mental illness. I was Bailey and I had anxiety. That was how I would introduce myself to people. And maybe some other like out there outrageous thing. And it has taken a lot of reframing to allow myself to realize that, yeah, anxiety is a huge part of me. There's no getting away from that. When I started looking into my human design and then into my gene keys, I realized that, yeah, I have a line 63, and that's the line of doubt. And with that line, especially in that shadow of that line, comes anxiety. There's no getting away from it unless I'm really aware and I allow myself to inquire in a way that's not solely looking for patterns and looking for logic. That's a total other video for another time. But what I'm saying is, it's okay to accept these parts as being part of you, but they do not identify you. Your mental health, any past struggles you've had, maybe with addiction, with experiences, with abuse, all of those things, they can be a part of who you are because they were a part of your journey to where you are now, but they don't define you. So that's why it's so important you have inner child work to release yourself from the words from others within your childhood, within your younger years, that do not actually define you, that were put on you based off of the way someone else perceived you. And then you have shadow work to really help you then also release yourself from the way up to this point you have defined yourself in other ways based off of experiences and things that you have maybe gone through in your more adult years. And then you need the self-love. This is like all what inner work is. You also need that self-love. And I am about to do a training on this on Saturday, just how it is so important. And it's really the foundation for any kind of healing, recovery work, and all that. Is you really want to start building upon that foundation of self-love, because it is what helps you to really navigate through these other parts, the inner work and the shadow work, inner child work and the shadow work, with grace and compassion. It allows yourself to see you for who you are and not judge you for who you may have been in the past or perceived yourself to be in the past. And it also allows yourself to detach from that, but in a way that doesn't separate it from you, because ultimately, like I said, it's all of these things are a part of you still. All the shadows always are going to be a part of you. It just is they don't need to hold you. They don't need to drive you. So another way other than inner work, which is a huge topic, and this is everything that I'm talking about tonight is stuff that I dive into so deeply one-on-one with clients in my Wildly Awakened Heart mentorship program. And it's a very beautiful and heart-centered, yet very powerful, and kind of like, it's very graceful and heart-centered, but it's also kind of fierce and bold. It has that beautiful mix of, encompasses like the whole feminine, that whole divine feminine, where she is very nurturing and supportive and the healer, but also very, very fierce and bold and kind of like unapologetically herself and honest with herself. So that's all what that kind of mentorship is a bit. It's very, it helps you to live life empowered as who you really are, and to bring that love, that grace into you, into your being, and into your life around you as you continue to navigate through your healing and your recovery, especially your recovery. But second would be mindset work. Again, mindset work. We're looking at, I'm going to be doing a whole training on this on Sunday within the fundraiser I'm a part of. So I will definitely link that down below. Donate to join us. It is for an amazing cause. It's for the humanitarian crisis in the Ukraine. And it's run by Amplify Women's Voices for Empowerment. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's been going all week, and I've caught some of the workshops from some of the other presenters. And there's a ton of healers and coaches and teachers and everything within this space. And it is just been, some of these things have been absolutely mind-blowing. And yeah, I'm so excited that I get to stand alongside those people and share my knowledge and my experience through mindset work and everything. And I'm happy to share a little bit here with you guys too. But if it's something you want to dive into deeper, definitely ask me for a link or look in the description box and get all the info you need on how you can join us by donating and get all the juicy info yourself. But mindset work is an amazing, amazing way to really begin to reframe your self-perception. A lot of us, when we are stuck in these conditioned beliefs and these old patterns and habits that can be toxic, that don't serve us, that we just are in because it's like that sameness, it's that comfort, maybe it's all we know. We tend to, because it's not aligned with us, we will continue to make choices that aren't very good. But we also kind of feel like we're stuck. We feel like we're broken. We feel like we need to be fixed and like we're never going to change. And this is just how we are, even though we may hate it. We may hate every single minute of it. And maybe even we wish so deeply and we pray that we can change, but we know we never can because we're stuck. That's a fixed mindset. But you can. It's very, very possible, and I've talked about this in an episode before, all about mindset. It's very possible to go from a fixed mindset to one of growth. Excuse me. It's very possible to go from a fixed mindset to one of growth. And what one of the most important things to note is that when you are trying to go from a growth mindset, from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, you really need to start challenging your thoughts, to questioning your negative thoughts, and also not necessarily relying on affirmations, but actually creating something that are called positive truths. So every time your inner voice, your inner critic, because if you are someone who is in that kind of fixed mindset, your ego is fully in control. And so it's about taking your power back from your ego so that you can actually hear your soul, so that it can come forward. Your inner wisdom can speak and you can hear it. So you want to take that power back from your ego. And one way to do that is anytime your ego has some kind of negative thought or whatever that pops up, you combat that with something called a positive truth. So say you're wanting to do something and your ego pops in your mind, you hear like yourself and you're like, oh, well, you just always mess this up. So why even try? That's a very egoic, very negative thought that actually probably does not even belong to you. So instead of just saying, I'm good at everything, or creating an affirmation like I can do anything I put my mind to, that's great. But because you are not, you're still in a fixed mindset, you haven't made moves out of that yet. So what happens is the words you are saying and your actual mind, your subconscious mind, they do not line up. So you want to combat this kind of stuff instead with positive truths, where you kind of take a bit of responsibility but you bring it back to this kind of more positive light. So if your ego said to you, oh, you never do anything right, so why even try? Then you would simply say thank you to it, because it is really just doing its job. And you say, thank you so much for that. But, sometimes I may do amazing and sometimes not so much. And that's okay, because every day I presented with an opportunity to try again. And that's the truth. The energy is behind that, because that's 100% true. Sometimes we fail and sometimes we succeed. But every single day we are presented with an opportunity to try again. So using positive truths to battle your inner critic is a great way to begin to reframe that self-perception from taking it away from this very ego-based negative kind of place, where a lot of times the word, again, like a lot of times when your ego says things to you like that, like you're not good enough, or why even bother, you always mess up. A lot of the times the reason you are hearing those words is not because you created them. You didn't create that voice in your head. That voice in your head is compiled voices from people from around you. Again, we're coming back to that conditioning piece. So that ego is not even your own voice. It's the voice of someone else. Somewhere back in the day, someone said that to you. Someone told you, you always mess up, so why even bother trying? And you held on to that. And you carried that around with you all your life up to this point. But it's not serving you. It doesn't serve your highest good. So you can just let go of that. You can allow that to float away. We don't need that here. No, we're not claiming that energy. And another way then is also by questioning your negative thoughts. So every time you have a thought pop up that maybe is, oh, like you failed, you're a failure. Every time you've tried this, you failed. Or maybe it's, for me, a lot of the times it surrounds alcohol. Oh, you can't even do this. You should just have a drink. Wouldn't a drink be great right now? It's been such a stressful day. You deserve a drink. Can even come across like that. But you have to take the time to question your thoughts. Question your thoughts, like all of them, honestly. Unless you know 100%, like, okay, this is a drop down and I know this is super soul level, question it. If you aren't sure, question it. Ask, is this nurturing? For me, is having a drink right now when I'm super stressed out nurturing? Is that a nurturing thought? Does that serve my highest good? No. So you let that go. Don't allow it to hold on. Don't allow it to create a story. Oh, I don't think I'm good enough. I shouldn't do this. Yeah, but is that even true? Is that real? No. How are you going to know if you're good at something or not until you try it? So that's not a real thought. That's not like based in reality. So you can let that one go too. Just allow it to float away. Don't allow it to start creating stories. It's very important to begin to question your thoughts. That's another way that you move from this kind of fixed mindset to just simply believing you are never going to change, to starting to change, to starting to step outside of your comfort zone and experience new things, and to really start redirecting the way that you see yourself as someone who is enough, who can do things, who isn't a failure, and who can manage, maybe if you're like me, who can manage their stress in way healthier and productive ways than drinking alcohol. And lastly, is my favorite, is soul work. I love soul work. And honestly, all of these three things kind of go hand in hand. When you start doing one, you begin to do the others. Like inner work and mindset work are super, super closely connected. You want to be reframing your stories, rewriting your stories. And that takes kind of some inner work, like diving into your past and being able to Pinpoint again where maybe you hold on to things negatively, where you allow experiences to replay and replay and replay and don't allow you to move forward because you're stuck within these past experiences, or where you're putting yourself too far in the future. So you're rewriting your future too, you know? Allowing yourself to mentally time travel, this is totally kind of off topic, but allowing yourself to constantly mentally time travel and not be in the present actually creates trauma. You are constantly creating trauma for yourself, grief for yourself over things that you have either lost and continue to lose, or the things that you haven't even allowed yourself to try and achieve yet. You are constantly putting yourself through trauma when you allow yourself to constantly mentally time travel. It causes depression and anxiety. One of the biggest things with anxiety is you constantly are not in the present because you're constantly worrying about what can happen tomorrow, 5 minutes from now, 5 years from now. And with depression, it's the opposite. You're constantly reliving past things, past moments, past experiences. And by doing that, you are constantly creating trauma for yourself. So getting into the habit of allowing yourself to be in the present and to reframe the way that you look at your past experiences, you'll be able to reframe the way that you view yourself in this present moment. You'll actually want to spend time with who you are in this present moment. You'll actually want to sit down and be with you. That's one of the reasons I struggled for so long with being present, with mindfulness, is because I literally could not stand the idea of having to be with myself, of having to be within my body, within my mind for even 5 minutes. And that's why I struggled so much with anxiety. I allowed myself to struggle so much with anxiety because I didn't want to have to go through those first moments of having to be in the present and getting used to that. And that's another thing too with anxiety. When you suffer with anxiety and your nervous system has been so dysregulated for so long, where you've allowed yourself to engage in such toxic and unhealthy coping mechanisms, when it comes time to begin a mindfulness practice, this again, I guess I'm going to make a whole other episode of this, but I'll just say this piece here and then move on to the actual topic of this episode. But when your body is so dysregulated, your nervous system is so dysregulated, when you start to begin these practices and you're someone who, especially people who struggle with anxiety, things like breath work, actually your body will fight that. Your breath, your body will fight that because it's so unfamiliar. Your body has been so dysregulated for so long that the simple act of taking deep breaths is so unnatural to it that your body will fight that. And that's why it's so important to realize that mindfulness can be achieved so many other ways outside of breath work. Because breath work alone, it does not work for everyone, and especially in that beginning shift into mindfulness. Meditation doesn't work for everyone because, again, it's that breathing, that slowing down of your breath. For people who have struggled with dysregulated nervous systems for so long, that's not always the answer. It takes a lot more physical dropping down into your body. Just putting that out there. So if you're someone who has tried mindfulness, who has tried meditation, and you find that maybe it feels like it makes you feel worse, that's just something to think about. And I will do an episode specifically on that because it was something that I experienced, and I think it's very important to get out there, and I'm getting like a drop down to do that. Anyway, back into the topic for today. So soul work. That's my favorite way of connecting, obviously, with my soul. So soul work can look like so many different things. And here we are. I am going to talk on meditation because currently, meditation is my favorite way of connecting with my soul. Going on soul journeys. So these are more of those immersive visual meditations where you journal inward and into your Akashic records, where you can look at past lives and really get to know your soul on that level. Or meditations that simply just connect you to the source, to your unconscious, and to your higher self. They don't have to be quite as visual or quite as immersive, but you can still get super connected. I actually did one. Well, I did kind of one today. It was just super short. I did it on my kitchen floor. It was called, it's a ritual for the power of three, all from this moon membership that I talked about last week that I'm a part of. It was our ritual for this full moon. And it was literally so fast, the simplest thing I've ever done, yet so powerful. I have never released and gone through so many emotions at once, especially when I got to that higher self part. You sat in your present, you sat in your past, you sat in your future, and then you sat as your higher self looking at all those other three parts of you. And it was just so powerful. And it gave me so much more insight again. Every time I do one of these things, I gain so much insight onto who I am on that soul level. And so another way, though, outside of meditations, is really using journaling. So soul inquiry work. So using prompts or automatic writing to really connect with your highest self, to ask those questions and then allow your gut, your heart, your sacral to answer, to get out of your head, just allowing those things to come out fast. I find that if I'm not doing automatic writing, then it's just jot notes. You just jot whatever pops up down. You don't think on it. You don't expand. You don't create stories. That's kind of getting too much in your head sometimes, especially when you're just new to this. Just simply write down the first few things that pop into your mind when you ask a question, and really allow that to guide you. But with automatic writing, you kind of have to be in a meditative state with that for it to work. But you tap into your high self. And again, you would ask for guidance on something, and you just write until you feel like you're done. A lot of the times it doesn't quite make perfect sense, but eventually the things that didn't make sense will make sense. And then on top of meditation and journaling for soul work, I love divination tools. Absolutely love oracle cards. I do a pull every day, usually more than one. I pull to ask my soul specifically what I need to know today to move through today, connected to my highest self, my highest purpose, connected to my soul. And then I will also do a pull for my business, asking how I can get more flow into my business today. And then every now and then I will, depending on the season and where I am, I might do a spread. Like for the moon, I might do a new moon spread or a full moon spread, or I might simply do just say, what do I need to release today, or whatever I may feel called to asking in that moment. Maybe it was a dream, so I'm asking for more answers on a dream that I had. But connecting with my soul in that way, that actually brings me a lot of joy. And also Reiki. I know I talked about Reiki last time, but Reiki just has that beautiful way of connecting you in with the universal energy, with connecting you in with your spirit team, your spirit guides, and allowing you to get answers, to get messages, especially in terms of releasing, conditioned beliefs, those conditioned parts of you that do not belong to you, and then reconnecting you with your soul with alignment. Reiki is the most beautiful tool for that. And so I do also rely on it a lot. And all of these things together I've been doing this work for a while now. And that's why I finally can quickly have that awareness, that self-awareness, to be able to say, oh my gosh, okay, before I answer this question, let me take a step back, because I don't think these are the answers that I want to give on that soul level. These are not answers that are soulfully aligned with me. So other people might see someone who's crazy. I think I'm passionate. I am very passionate about so many different things and so many people. And to others, that may come across as a little crazy, a little loco. But I just think I'm very passionate. I'm very much give a lot of love into a lot of things. And where other people may see someone who's bossy, well, I actually just see someone who has a clear vision and a clear plan of action moving forward with the things that they want, whether that is in my business or whether that is in my personal life. I'm not ever not open to talking with others and hearing other sides of things, but I will very much let you know the way that I view something happening. And I will tell you that I have a plan because I already got one. It's not about having to make a plan. I have a plan. And if you're open to using that plan, then let's do it. And where others may see someone who's childish, I see someone who's just connected to their joy, who has been doing this work, who's kind of connected to their inner child, who's free, who loves to play. There's nothing wrong with that. We all should be tapping into that more. And another one where someone sees, where others see me as emotional. Yeah, I think I'm vulnerable. I show up exactly as I am, and I'm not afraid to share my emotions. I'm not afraid to cry or be sensitive. I'm aware that these are all okay. There's no good or bad emotions. All there is emotions that we have as a society being led to believe are acceptable to express and ones that we have to hold on to and hide. And I don't believe that any have to hide. I will show up vulnerably always, and that to others may make me seem like I'm a little too emotional. And nosy, I will admit I am a watcher, but I just am very curious and observant. And I like to get an idea of how others act. It's kind of like a science experiment, honestly. And as a Pisces, I think that's kind of how we all are. We all just are starting to kind of observing the world. Maybe I'm not meant to be here. Maybe I'm from some other place. And so I'm observing how you guys all act to take it back home to where I belong. And where others, this is the one that gets me the most. Lazy. That's the thing I think I have been called the most my whole life is lazy. And where people see lazy, I know now that I'm not lazy. I am not lazy. But I have struggled with anxiety. And anxiety has this beautiful way of making your brain never shut down, but also making it impossible for you to move forward with things, to immobilize you in that physical realm. And I have suffered from that for a long time. And I understand where me not having quote unquote drive to do all these things could come across as lazy. But really, I think a lot of it was anxiety. And now I just really understand the importance of rest. Rest is needed. We're not made to be go, 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 go all the time. We're made to flow with the cycles, to lean in and lean back, to balance that masculine and that feminine energy. I'm not made to be on that 40-hour week schedule. And I don't think a lot of us are. Yet we worry about being lazy, but we're not. Just understand that rest is necessary. And that's really weird. At this point, I know it's just because I'm true to myself and my soul, and I'm not afraid to express that. So, fuck, if I'm weird, so be it. Here's to all us weirdos. But at this point now in my life, after years and years of working on it, I'm finally, and it's amazing when you can have these moments of like clarity where all of a sudden you break that habit, you break that pattern, you stop yourself in your tracks before you say something, before you do something, and you have that awareness and you're like, hold on a minute, man. Like, this is not right. This doesn't sit well with me. Saying these words does not light me up. This is not who I am on that soul level. you know I embrace, I fully embrace all parts of me, and I love myself for who I am. But who I am is not someone who bases their value on how others view me. I'm not trying to change myself to be more likable. I'm just me, and that's exactly who I need to be, all I need to be, and all you are ever going to get anymore. I'm not dimming my light. I'm not stopping my excitement because maybe that makes someone uncomfortable. I'm just going to show up as me, and I'm not allowing the perceptions of others to rule me either. And it is fucking freeing. I have been living my most celebratory, freeing life over these past like few weeks. It's wild. The moment you make decisions, when you start making decisions like that, and you stop these habits, and you've put that work in, and now you get to reap these rewards. And the closer you get with your soul, the more things start popping up that are meant for you at the soul level. The more soul vibe, high vibe you feel. And it's not that maybe the next time this question pops up, I'll just know to answer with the real words of my soul, of who I am. I'm Bailey, and I'm nurturing, I'm inquiring, and I'm innovative. I'm imaginative. I'm very soulful. And yeah, I'm vulnerable, and I'm honest, and I'm a fighter and a warrior and resilient as fuck and passionate and compassionate. And I'm a healer and a mother and a lover. I love to love. And I'm a little witchy. I also love magic. And all of those things are me. And I like to take things slow. I don't want to have to rush into things anymore. I don't want to have to make myself burn out. I embrace flow, and I surrender to that need for control. And I'm just here to live my best life. I don't give a shit how that makes me look to you. Because you know what? I feel fucking amazing. I am here living my best life. And maybe the next time I'm asked to describe myself, I will describe myself as I feel right now. But there's also always the possibility that that old habit might try to pop up again, depending on where I am in life. If I'm maybe moving outside of my comfort zone, so my ego is going to be more prone to popping up. You always have to kind of take note of where we are. These things never stop. Like, you're never not going to have your ego. You're never not going to experience these kind of old patterns and habits trying to poke their head. Anybody who's been through recovery can tell you that. It just is that you become better at identifying those as being old patterns that don't serve you anymore. And you become better at reaching into that toolbox that you formed for yourself and picking a different, more healthy coping strategy or belief or thought or activity. And that's what it's all about. The key in everything in life is awareness. I swear to God. That is the key, guys. Anyway, I hope this was helpful for whoever's listening. I know I was so called to sharing this, and for myself, I think in a way it was really for me, but also for someone else out there in particular. Someone out there, and if it's you, please reach out and let me know. And like I said, I will link everything down below again. I'll link the link for my mentorship, one-on-one mentorship. There are options for payment plans. There are options for shorter, depending on how much time you have, or the longer option if you really want to dive into this with me and be supported along your healing and your recovery. So I will link that so you can get all the juicy details. I'm also going to link my membership because we kind of dive into a lot of this type of stuff. Especially so this month alone, we're really focusing on that nurturing aspect. Our 5-day challenge starts on Monday, and we are really diving into that kind of inner child work, that self-love piece. We're diving into mindful body acceptance and even some womb healing. Like, it's going to get a bit like uncomfortable. Like, I'm not going to lie. It's going to create discomfort, but that's what's needed to kind of move forward. And we also, like I said, there's the self-love training that I'm doing, all on soulful self-love. We are really moving away from that whole like consumer kind of version of self-love and into that soulful self-love. There will be some witchy rituals throughout, which I'm really excited to share about because, like I just said when I describe myself, I love that. I love witchy. I love spells and magic and energy. And yeah, and I'll also for sure put in the link for the Ukraine stuff in the description as well. Because it is an amazing cause. And like I said, there's over 30 different like workshops, different speakers, and you have an array of healers and teachers and coaches and mentors from all different kind of like wakes of life and in different fields. And so it's been fucking amazing. I am learning so much in this space. And like I said, I can't wait to get to share. Like, I'm so honored to be able to be a part of this. It's amazing. So I will link that because it's also for an absolutely amazing cause. And like always, I'll also link my Instagram down there because I love you guys and I love connecting with you guys. This is one of the reasons I love doing this. I love this channel. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you have a wonderful night. And I hope you are able to kind of, pick out a few soul words for you. Take some time tonight or whenever you're watching this to sit, connect in with your soul, and just ask. Just get your journal out and seriously ask yourself. Quiet, kind of come into a bit of stillness, however that looks for you, and ask, what are 3 words I can use to describe me from my soul? Soul, give me 3 words to describe me. Something as simple as that. And allow what flows to flow. And if you feel comfortable sharing, definitely either send me a private message on Instagram or comment below because I would fucking love to know. I would love to know what your soul words are. Okay, stay wild and well, you beautiful souls. Until next time.